At Brightwell Industries, employees prided themselves on innovation, ethics, and progress. At least, that's what the public thought. But behind the shiny glass doors, CEO Ethan Cole had been hearing rumors. His once trusted managers were allegedly mistreating employees, stealing from company funds, and discriminating against the vulnerable. Ethan wasn't just going to sit in his luxury office and hope for the truth to come out. He wanted to see it for himself. So, one evening, Ethan walked into an alleyway near his penthouse, opened a duffel bag, and pulled out a tattered hoodie, old jeans, and worn-out sneakers. He ruffled his hair, smudged dirt onto his face, and left his wallet, watch, and identity behind. By morning, he was just another homeless man on the streets of his own city. Ethan had always believed his company was a place of fairness, opportunity, and respect. But from where he was sitting, it looked very different. As employees rushed past him, some glanced his way. Most didn't. One young intern hesitated, looking like she wanted to help, but her manager grabbed her arm and pulled her along. "Don't waste your time on them. Keep walking." Ethan frowned. So it was true. Later that day, Ethan wandered into Brightwell's employee cafeteria, hoping to buy something cheap to eat. But before he could even speak, cafeteria manager declared, "No handouts. Get lost." Ethan raised an eyebrow. This was his cafeteria, funded with his money, yet here he was, being treated like nothing. As he stepped back, a janitor nearby whispered, "They throw out fresh food at closing. Come back then." Ethan nodded in thanks. At least someone still had a heart. As the day went on, Ethan moved through the company he thought he knew. What he saw shocked him. Employees were overworked, forced to take extra shifts without pay. Managers pocketed money from department budgets, laughing about it in hushed conversations. And worst of all, a senior executive openly mocked an elderly janitor who had worked at Brightwell for 20 years. "Let's cut back on cleaning expenses. Who cares if the place is dirty? People like her should be grateful they even have jobs." Ethan clenched his fists. Enough was enough. Ethan had seen enough. The next morning, he didn't show up in rags. He arrived as himself, Ethan Cole, the CEO. When he stepped into the boardroom, the same corrupt executives who had ignored him yesterday stood to greet him. They smiled. They shook his hand. They had no idea what was coming. Ethan slammed a thick folder onto the table. "These are my findings." He pulled up hidden security footage from the cafeteria, the warehouse, the offices. The same people who had laughed at the poor, mistreated employees and stolen from the company were now watching themselves on screen. Their faces went pale. Within hours, everything changed. The cafeteria manager? Fired. The corrupt executives? Escorted out by security. The stolen money? Returned to employee wages. And the janitor the executives had mocked? She got a promotion. Ethan stood in front of his employees, addressing them directly. This company was built on integrity. If you cannot respect the people who make this place run, then you do not belong here. The workers cheered. For the first time in years, Brightwell was truly a company that valued its people. Because power isn't about a title. It's about how you treat others